Hey guys, Dr. Mo here, digital nomad physician at digitalnomadphysician.com. Sorry that I'm walking and talking on a busy street and in my mask, but such is the situation during COVID. It's end of January here, 2022, and the pandemic right now is pretty high up there. It's a peak here in Spain, in the city of Santiago de Compostela. But, you know, people are still out and about. Everybody just wears a mask and they're pretty good about it. So I try to be respectful. The young people, so there's probably like a 20% rate of mask compliance, but everybody else wears it. So I think it's sort of worth it to just be a little bit respectful. Anyway, this video is going to be a little bit about Santiago de Compostela, but more so about just the idea of, I want to get you guys to understand the real numbers of cost of living. It's so difficult to wrap your head around it sometimes, because in the US, to live the lifestyles that we live, it can cost so much money, and you forget how little money you actually need in most parts of the world to live. Here, Santiago de Compostela, you know, the cost of living is incredibly low, and it's Spain. Spain is a very safe country. It has an incredible culture, amazing infrastructure, one of the highest literacy rates. Healthcare is high up compared to any other place that you can imagine. And infrastructure, buildings, everything is tip-top shape. I can walk around any time of day in Santiago de Compostela and I'll never feel unsafe. And I could say the same thing about a lot of parts of Madrid, Sevilla, sorry, I'm blacked out, and other parts of Spain. So let me give you an idea. Okay, I can go work in the US for 1 month, not full-time, but part-time, and I can come and live in Spain for a year. So one more time, I will work 1 month in the US, and I can live here the other 11 months basically. How does that work? The reason it works this way is because this country is built on an average monthly salary of around 700 to 900 euros, which comes out to give or take about, $900 to $1,000 a month. So when you have a country that is run like this and functions this well with that low of an average income, you create a kind of society and culture where people just don't need a lot of money to live a good lifestyle. Unlike the US, where it's always progressing, it's always changing. People are constantly trying to make more, higher education, accomplish more, do more. If you can see one more patient, if you can sell one more appliance, if you can sell one more apartment complex or apartment or whatever you do as a realtor, that's sort of the culture. Here, it's not that way. And you're gonna find a lot of people who work just enough. If they're in sales, they're gonna sell just enough to be able to run their household. And after that, they're like, oh, I'm done. I'd rather sit at work and chat with my colleague than do more. This can be frustrating for those of you who've traveled to Greece and Spain and Mexico. You know that you're just not gonna get that kind of customer service that you expect. But here in Santiago de Compostela, I've told you guys many times, for $500, 500 euros, which is say 600 bucks a month, you can rent a really beautiful apartment. And you pay another 50, 60, 70 a month for private health insurance. You spend $200 a month for really good food. You don't need a car. So health, transportation, food, right? Those are sort of, and housing, those are sort of the main things. And it's just that housing here is just not crazy. It's just not that expensive. It won't break your budget. You can go to Madrid and you definitely can find a 2-bedroom apartment for probably around $1,000 a month. So we're talking kind of a much higher spending. Food is a little bit more expensive, traveling is a little bit more, everything's just a little bit more expensive. But even if you're in Madrid or Sevilla, you can easily get by on $1,500 a month, easily $1,500 US a month. Now, this isn't even hacking the entire process. I'm not talking about buying a place so that you don't have any monthly expenses. I'm not talking about cooking most of your food. None of that. And if you did, you definitely would save even more money, right? And so I just want to reiterate that. I know a lot of you are reaching out to me. You're having a really difficult time. You're burnt out. You're having problems with work. You want to quit medicine. You want to get into something else. Medicine is burning you out. Medicine is no longer exciting. There's no passion in it. I get it. And if that's where you're at, I just want to kind of remind you that you don't have to make all of your money from medicine. You can get into these other things, the digital nomad stuff that I've talked about so many times, consulting, running your own practice, utilization management review, medical writing, science liaison, remote teaching, right? All this stuff that you do on the side can be enough money to kind of sustain your lifestyle. And I guess what I'm trying to say is if you are willing to just do a little bit, I'm not saying work full-time in medicine, because for most of the people who are watching this, you're done with it, right? You're just completely over the idea of working full-time. But if you can do just 1 month in the US, right, and travel the rest of the time to these beautiful places here, to be able to live it out, right? To be able to say, okay, you know what? I can do this for 1 month because I know that after this month, I'll have a lot of time to myself. It doesn't even have to be a month. It could be 2 months, it could be 3 months. And then the rest of the time you're traveling, you're living in different places. You could do the Airbnb thing. To me, the Airbnb thing gets a little bit expensive. It's nicer to find a place long-term that you're gonna stay in. And of course, if you're on the road and you're making some money on the side, then you have even more options. But to give you an example, when I was in the US, I worked 2 months and I earned a little bit over $20,000. And I kept most of that money because when it comes to taxes and being a sole proprietor, being an independent contractor, you keep the majority of that money. I've mentioned that many times. So I can easily pay for me and my girlfriend here for us to live here for the next year, just from that money. Now, of course, I didn't do that because I do so many crazy things with my money, investing and put it to good use. But I also make my money on the road, right? So I can be here doing some telemedicine. I can be remote and do some healthcare consulting. And I make enough that I'm not dependent on that income that I did just in the US. So that's it. I hope this gives you an idea of what I'm talking about when I say that the cost of living in another country, Thailand, Mexico, Eastern Europe, of course, some parts of the US are cheap, but not this cheap. Spain, Portugal. In these places, you can live the kind of lifestyle that maybe you've always imagined with maybe your significant other or by yourself. I did it for myself for a long time. And all you got to do is either be willing to go back to the US for a month and work if you work full time, right? We're talking about $30,000, $40,000 for the month. But if you work like me, only 2 days a week for the month, well, it's still good money. Or, of course, you can do the remote thing where, like what I do right now, is work a couple of hours a day. Today, I probably did about, I'd say about 2 hours, and I don't think that was that much. It didn't kill me like this walk just did. But it was just enough for me to feel like I felt productive. I felt like I got a lot done. I saw patients. I don't know. It just makes me feel good doing that. And I worked on the projects that I really like, the healthcare consulting and stuff like that. And I can squeeze that all into just 2 hours a day. So if you have questions, guys, send me an email, drmo@digitalnomadphysician.com. Check out the website at digitalnomadphysician.com. Take care.